I saw it as the only way, my only chance to live the life that I wanted to live. Because objectively, I had what I'd consider bad grades relative to even my brothers, who were absolute boffins. I've not said that word in a couple of, you probably don't even know what that word means, do you?
No.
Do you know what boffin is?
No.
Okay, don't worry about it. They were very smart. And so you're always comparing yourself to the context in which you are. So I thought of myself as not being smart because they were really smart, and I'm not that good at maths, I'm not that good at English in terms of writing and spelling, or at least I wasn't then. So I thought, well, the only way that I'm going to get to live a free life is if I create it myself. And this is also part of the reason why I dropped out of university, because I asked myself the question, who am I going to show this piece of paper to if I want to work for myself? And also the other thing, which kind of speaks to what you're saying, is I just didn't know. I didn't know what the word entrepreneur was when I started my first business. I didn't know how hard it was. Maybe there was a element of like necessary delusion in thinking that I could have an idea, and then there was nothing between me and the realization of that idea. And it's probably the thing I always think about is the single most important trait I had wasn't like smarts or intelligence, or I didn't have parents that could give me any money or anything like that. The single trait I had was a healthy dose of delusion. And that delusion is sometimes also referred to as self-belief. Like, I didn't think there was anything between where I am now and where I wanted to be. I couldn't see a thing. It was just whether I wanted it or not. So that's why I started the first time. And it was, I would say, painful. But I just never felt like I had a plan B. I've always in my head thought that my life would go one way, and there was never an alternative path. So it's funny because I think back to the way I was behaving when I was 18. So I've called my mother, I've told her I'm dropping out university. I'm the only child that did that. So I'm disowned, and I'm in Manchester, I'm broke. I've got 2 CCJs I managed to collect, which is, it sounds like a qualification. It's like the closest thing I came to a qualification. It's actually a county court judgment, which is when they're coming for you because you owe them a lot of debt. And in that moment, I was videoing the bailiff letters that I had. I was documenting. I was like, look how many bailiff letters I've got. I was opening my fridge and I was going, look, there's nothing in it. And then I was filming myself as if I was shooting a documentary. And in that, it's like bizarre behavior, because you would expect someone in such a situation to be like despairing. But my mindset was that this was an interesting story I was going to tell one day. And actually, I think it's that mindset that gets you out of that situation, because I really think you can make heaven out of hell or hell out of heaven, depending how you think about a situation. So my favorite quote ever, because it just like hit me like a ton of bricks many years later, is those that think they can and those that think they can't are both usually right. And people think, well, if you're capable, you believe you can. No, it's because belief itself is the escape velocity of any hell or prison that you're in, for many of us. So I started because I didn't have a plan B, and I was desperate for, maybe through shame or insecurity because of what I said earlier about being the black kid and the poor kid in my context. I was desperate to fill that gap, that hole in me, which was the sort of like subtle background murmur of shame my whole childhood. And the way that I thought I could fill it was the validation from like doing something great with myself, or getting the money that was always like the thing causing me awkwardness as a kid, like not having the money. Or so whatever the like motivation was, whether I was being dragged or I was driven, I think the two are like indistinguishable. There was enough energy that pushed me through all of those, the hard stuff where like people tell you no, and you don't feel like you're making any progress at all.